State Auditor Beth Wood did not appear in court today. Only her attorney was present. Wood is accused in a hit-and-run incident from December. Raleigh police say she crashed her state-owned car into a parked car. Video from a bystander shortly after the crash appears to show Wood being escorted into a law office. Wood's lawyer says her client has taken full responsibility for her actions and is cooperating with authorities. Wood's hearing has been now continued until March.
Amid the allegations, Beth Wood has given no public indication as to whether she'll choose to fulfill her term in office.
But what happens if she does not? And is there a scenario where it would not be her choice? Tonight, we're getting answers to those questions. The first woman in North Carolina to hold the office of state auditor, Beth Wood, is in her fourth term. Each time, she's sworn to uphold the state constitution. The state constitution is also clear about what happens if Wood chooses to not remain in office.
It's pretty simple. The governor appoints, whether it be an interim or a full-time replacement, and that person serves until the next election that the General Assembly is involved in, which would be 2024.
So if Governor Cooper is constitutionally obligated to designate a new auditor, that person would serve until the voters get a chance to make their own choice. But if Wood decides to stay, whether she is found to be guilty or not, the state legislature could choose to remove her. If the state house chooses to impeach, then that person has to step aside until the state Senate makes a decision.
And the Senate would hold the hearing and conduct the trial and could remove the person from office, or the person could be acquitted. So it's very much like the federal level, except for the person does not remain in office during the entire process.
I'm still concerned with all this self-reporting.
Auditor Wood is often in the driver's seat of holding public agencies accountable when it comes to public dollars. Most recently, that includes the town of Spring Lake, the state DOT, and the handling of COVID relief money. Meredith College political scientist David McClennan says whatever happens may come down to public trust.
Transparency, particularly in the auditor's position, because they're looking at other public agencies and entities to make sure that those agencies and entities are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, you know, it's a job that depends on the trust.
And there's still a lot we don't know, of course, involving this case. We can't speculate as to what might or might not have happened. That's up to law enforcement to let us know. We have reached out multiple times to RPD to get more specifics. That hasn't happened yet. We haven't received a response that gives us some of the answers we're looking for. So we may just have to wait until this is adjudicated in court. As far as what Wood is going to do, you know, the ball right now is in her court. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out.
We'll be watching.
Absolutely.